analytics being actually inserted into the business process itself, being part of the whole flow of business process. So against this maturity curve, there was this study that it was not against that specific with those parameters, but I wanted to show you this results that came out of a study that IDC had done, where the blue bars indicate the number, the category of users in typical organizations using business intelligence. The blue bars indicate the internal users and the orange ones indicate external users. So again, what you would see here is that a very small percentage of companies actually publish their BI or make BI accessible outside the organization. Also, there is, as and when you move down the line, like business analysts or line of business staff who are very focused on a specific area of analysis, are relatively less. So it's as low as 40% for the line of business. So when you say line of business, it means, let's say, a person who's just focused on one particular business area or is focused on one particular business functionality. You would again see there's a very small adoption of use within these communities of business intelligence. So what actually comes out is, in reality, though you want to get to that place, from this graph you see where most of the organizations are very far from actually getting there. So if you simplify what you were looking at on the first slide, you would see that majority of the organizations are in this phase of either ad hoc, tactical, or analytic. So a lot of the organizations, maybe in 2000, this graph was from a little while back, so maybe a little more organizations have moved into the analytics space, where the data warehouse or back office analysis and things like that are mainstream today. But most of the organizations have not yet been successful or not yet have moved into enterprise. They've tried to do these implementations, but in terms of how many people are actually able to see it or use it is again in question today. And of course, they are very far from moving into this area of pervasive. But that's where the direction is supposed to be. So under pervasive, you will see these three key points that have been made. So information at right time. So again, when we say right time, there are two aspects to it. IT often thinks of this as right time being real time, or information being made at a quick speed. Yes, it is correct that information has to be made available quickly and at a high speed, but it is not referring only to the transfer of data from one place to another. It also means that when a business person has the need to get data, they must get it quickly and on time. And I think a lot of you, being IT professionals, have I'm sure been on projects which needed SOX standards to be complied with, and then there are additional standards that are coming out every day, which causes this to get more and more difficult. So business has started complaining that just to get a report that they want, it takes so long that by the time they get the report or they get what the information they need, the need for that information does not exist anymore. So that's what is also meant by right time. So make the information available at right time. That's one aspect. Then when the information is needed, there are a lot of scenarios where information may be needed today, may be needed by a small, by a very small group of people. And then 2 months down the line, that information is not needed anymore. So again, going back to the example of a marketing campaign, when somebody wants to run a marketing campaign, they may want some set of information that is only relevant to the marketing campaign. And once that marketing campaign is over, they are not interested in that information anymore. In such scenarios, Does it really make sense to build a data warehouse or a data mart for them? No, that's a question to ask, right? So again, these are things that relate to the information at right time, meaning you give the information when they need it, and when they don't need it, you have the ability to free up infrastructure or hardware or whatever you need to in order to not make that information available anymore. The second thing is comes out of the same need. So from right time, you must empower all users to do real-time decision making. Right? So how you do it, often business does not care whether you are doing CDC or you are doing what you do. They want that they have the ability sometimes to go and write their ad hoc reports, not depend on IT and so on. So that's another very key area of saying that I want the information not just in real time, but I also want it at my disposal. I get a choice to make my decisions and how I want to get the information that I need. And then integrated into the business process means things like analytics can form an input of information into some other downstream applications. So that's an example of where, let's say you want to get the output of a particular delay on your production shop floor. So there's a delay on your production shop floor, and as a result of that, you want to pass on that information to your, let's say, your customer, so that the customer who's a retail shop can then take action to appropriately source that material maybe from somewhere else, or maybe delay their, delay a marketing campaign or a promotional campaign due to these kind of reasons. So there are various ways in which you are integrating this one piece of information into the process flow. And remember, this is not the data warehouse flow. This is just information that comes out of data warehouse and goes to other. So now coming back to this, where does this all lead us to? This leads us to, if you break it down, this leads us to, yes, until now we were talking about pervasive business intelligence, but in order to support all of this, you need pervasive data integration also. And what are the key functionality, or what are the key things that one would need to look for in a pervasive data integration suite? So let's recap on what we just talked about, right? We talked about quick turnaround, right? So that's right here. We talked about quick turnaround. We talked about, in order to give quick turnaround, IT must be either able to react quickly, or they must be able to give business the power to have a self-service model where they can get information themselves. Once that is there, they have to have flexible delivery mechanisms. So not only the user need not always log into their laptops, or they need not always log into a portal to get the information they need. They might want it in so many other methods. With the coming of mobility and all, they may want it even on their mobile devices. And then, because you are talking about pervasive business intelligence, which is talking about thousands and thousands of reports, they may not want to see all the reports all the time. They may want to see some specific piece of information that may not even pertain to a report at a certain point in time. In order to support a lot of these things we are talking about, what we need is mixed workload processing. So you should be able to handle small amounts of data. You should be able to handle large amounts of data which are crunched maybe on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. You may need to get data that is in real time and to be made accessible almost instantaneously, or actually instantaneously, or reflect the exact source system. You may also need all of these infrastructure to scale up, because you are, today maybe there's somebody using a report which is very specific to that person's need, and then there are other people on the organization who realize, oh, I also want a report like that, and start accessing that report, and therefore you suddenly get a huge number of hits on what was initially something that was meant for one department. And therefore again, you get a huge strain on your resources. So again, you need to scale up, or at least you need to design the overall architecture to scale to that need. And then we talked about trusted and business IT collaboration is more where you are giving control to the business, and I'll address these two later. But in order to address all of this, one of the first things that we need is, we talk about data integration being a convergence of EII, ETL, and EAI. What one needs is, you need a rapid interchange to happen between an enterprise integration tool and ETL, and I'll talk about this later on in the slide. So that's one need that comes up, which can cater to the self-service model. It can cater to the low turnaround time, and also allow you to scale up as and when things increase. In order to give you low latency capture, and in order to be able to scale up seamlessly and rapidly, you need, along with the rapid interchange between ETL and EII logic, you need scalable data services, and you need batch CDC. And I know these all seem like terms some of you have heard of, but I will get into what I mean by each of these later on. And then you need pervasive data quality. So what do we mean by pervasive data quality? When you define a data quality rule, the data quality rule should be defined only once and deployed anywhere you like. So for example, if you're defining a data quality rule that you want to deploy on your data federation layer, you should be able to do it. The same rule should be, it should be possible to integrate that as part of your regular processing on your ETL side. It should be able to even put that on your middleware layer if you want to. So pervasive data quality is another thing that you want. And then in order to, these are two new concepts that have come up. In order to say that my data quality is pervasive and make it available to everybody, you must make, while we talked about how data integration itself has become pervasive, and therefore you are covering so many more people in your organization, it's impossible that with the increase in data volumes, with the different latencies, you can cater to all of their needs. Therefore, you now need automated data validation also to make sure that your data is trusted. And then you need what is called proactive monitoring. So like we said, how often have each of us come across projects, where we come into work on Monday morning, or we come into work during the month end close, and we come to know that there's something wrong with the numbers, and we spend the rest of the day just finding out what went wrong. So proactive monitoring is something that tells you ahead of time that something is going wrong or something could go wrong. So again, these are things we'll look at in detail. So these are the various aspects I'm going to quickly cover in detail. So